A new report from the World Bank says global prices of wheat and rice may fall by more than 10% this year. Ndiho has more.
In its new report, World Bank researchers said developing countries should be prepared for more slowing in the global economy as a result of Europe's debt problems and weakening growth in some big emerging economies.
We've seen capital flows to developing countries decline by almost 50%, and we're really beginning to see some of these effects in terms of activity. We have developing countries, the major developing countries, offering slower growth now than they were earlier, and that happening at the same time as Europe enters into recession offers a pretty worrisome conjuncture.
The World Bank is lowering its forecast for 2012 to about 5.5% for developing countries and 1.5% for high-income countries. Global growth is now projected at about 2.5% this year and next year.
Obviously, what's happening in Europe, were it to deteriorate significantly, is going to have important impacts for developing countries. We run some scenarios here where, were that crisis to become more serious, growth in developing countries could decline by almost some 4 percentage points, GDP be lower by 4 percentage points. That's a very significant slowdown.
Slower growth is already visible in weakening prices. Global exports of goods and services are projected to rise by 2% less than they did last year. Meanwhile, global prices of energy, metals, minerals, and agricultural products are off as much as 25% from their peaks of 2011.
Developing countries really have to prepare for the unexpected, if you wish. And what we're really suggesting for them to do is take a look at their current situation, take a look at their current spending, and take a cold, hard look at what might happen and plan ahead a little bit.
Declining commodity prices have contributed to an easing of inflation in most developing countries. Although international food prices eased in recent months, down to 14% from their peaks in February 2011, food security for the poorest, including the Horn of Africa, remains a central concern.
We see oil prices potentially declining by as much as 20%. That's going to have important impacts for the fiscal balances of oil exporting countries. It's going to have important impacts also for countries that are important exporters of metals and minerals. On the other hand, it's going to be a positive for importers of those commodities.
Developing countries may have less fiscal and monetary space for remedial measures than they did in the global economic downturn that began in 2008. As a result, say economists like those at the World Bank, their ability to respond to another downturn may be constrained if global conditions deteriorate sharply again this year. Ndiho, VOA News.